In this video, I'll be changing the PCV valve in my Nissan Pathfinder, and it's a 2012. For this, I'm just using a couple pairs of different pliers. I've got some assembly lube to lube up the PCV valve when I replace it with the new one. I've got a 24mm socket. I got an adjustable wrench. And here's the new PCV valve, which is part number 11810 EA200, and it looks like that. So I'm going to get my adjustable wrench set for when I take out the old one. So to find it, you just follow this vacuum hose rearward towards the firewall, and where it terminates on the valve cover on the passenger side is where the PCV valve is. It is sort of a blind reach through. There's a few things you can do to make it a little easier. The first is to remove that vacuum hose. The second is to disconnect the retaining clip for this large bundle of electrical wires. You don't have to really disconnect anything else, it's just so you can lift it out of the way and give yourself some more space. And the third is to disconnect this gray electrical connector and just let it hang loose so that it's also out of the way. Once all that stuff's off, you'll be able to reach in with the pliers and remove the vacuum hose that connects to the PCV valve. So with the vacuum hose off, you can see the old PCV valve sticking out there. So it is a reach through. It's not a very cinematic removal here, because all you're going to see is my arm. But basically I just reached in with the adjustable wrench and removed. So there's the new one, and then side by side with the old one. Now the old one is still serviceable. I am changing it because it's a bit of a challenge to reach back there, and this part is actually only $30 Canadian, which is probably less than $20 US, so I figure if you're going to pull it out, you might as well just replace it. It's quite cheap. Now there's no change interval in the Nissan Manual, however the Haynes Manual I have recommends you change it every 30,000 miles, which is 48,000 kilometers, or every 2 years. Now again, it's a bit blind reaching behind, essentially just tighten it up by hand. And now I did get a lot of use out of this 24mm sort of oversized socket, because I'm able to slide that over the PCV valve and then just sort of tighten it by hand. There's no way you're going to fit a ratchet back there, but the socket does fit, and that was my tool of choice right up until the last quarter turn or so where I reach in with the adjustable wrench. Now putting it all back together, first thing you got to do is put the vacuum hose back on the PCV valve and then reinstall the metal clamp. So again, not very cinematic, but I think you get the idea. So like I said, with the electrical connectors out of the way, it is much easier to reach through there, and I highly recommend if you do this job that you disconnect those electrical connectors. Just because of the tight space, if you're going to take this project on, get the smallest pair of pliers you can get so that you can reach in there. There's not a whole lot of space to work, but it is doable. Once the vacuum hose and metal retaining clip are on the PCV valve, just reconnect them to the upper air intake, and again reinstall the metal retaining clip. All that's left here is to reconnect the electrical connector that I had removed earlier to make more space, and reconnect this big bundle of electrical wires onto this retaining clip. This only took me about 30 minutes. Most of the time was spent figuring out how to reach back there, but once I got those electrical connectors off, it was too easy. I'll go start the vehicle and make sure it's working. And the vehicle is running fine. Now I called 2 dealerships because I was in disbelief that this was a 3.4-hour job, but that's what both of them said, and at $170 an hour for labor, that's 578 Canadian dollars. So big savings if you do this yourself. Anyway, thanks for checking out my video. Don't forget to like and subscribe.